The American federal government is a complex system designed to balance power among different branches to prevent any single entity from becoming too powerful. The framework of this system is built on the principle of checks and balances, a concept embedded in the U.S. Constitution. This intricate design reflects the Founding Fathers' desire to create a government that is both powerful enough to govern effectively and restrained enough to protect individual liberties. But how exactly does this system work, and why is it so crucial to the functioning of American democracy? The idea of checks and balances stems from the separation of powers, a doctrine that divides the government into three branches: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. Each branch has its own distinct powers and responsibilities, ensuring that no single branch can dominate the others. This separation is intended to create a dynamic where each branch has both the means and the incentive to check the powers of the others, fostering a balance that protects against tyranny. At the heart of this system is the legislative branch, embodied by Congress, which is responsible for making laws. Congress itself is bicameral, meaning it is divided into two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House, with its 435 members, represents the people based on population, while the Senate, with its 100 members, represents the states, with each state having two senators regardless of size. This structure was designed to balance the interests of large and small states, ensuring that legislation requires broad support to pass. Congress holds significant power, including the ability to levy taxes, regulate commerce, declare war, and control the federal budget. However, these powers are not unchecked. The executive branch, led by the president, has the power to veto legislation passed by Congress. This means that even if both houses of Congress agree on a bill, the president can refuse to sign it into law. However, Congress can override a presidential veto with a two-thirds majority in both the House and the Senate, illustrating the push and pull dynamic inherent in the system of checks and balances. The executive branch, headed by the president, is responsible for enforcing and administering the laws passed by Congress. The president is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, has the power to negotiate treaties, and can issue executive orders that have the force of law. However, the president's powers are also subject to checks by the other branches. For example, while the president can negotiate treaties, they do not take effect until ratified by a two-thirds vote in the Senate. Similarly, while the president appoints federal judges and other high-ranking officials, these appointments must be confirmed by the Senate. One of the most significant checks on presidential power comes from the judiciary, the branch responsible for interpreting the laws and ensuring they align with the Constitution. The judicial branch, headed by the Supreme Court, has the power of judicial review, which allows it to strike down laws or executive actions it deems unconstitutional. This power, established by the landmark case Marbury v. Madison in 1803, serves as a critical check on both the legislative and executive branches, ensuring that neither can violate the Constitution's principles. The Supreme Court, along with the lower federal courts, plays a pivotal role in shaping American law and policy through its interpretations of the Constitution. However, the judiciary's power is not absolute. While judges are appointed for life to ensure their independence, their decisions can be effectively nullified if Congress passes new legislation or amends the Constitution. Moreover, the executive branch is responsible for enforcing court decisions, meaning that the judiciary relies on the executive's cooperation to carry out its rulings. This interconnected system of checks and balances is evident in numerous aspects of American governance. For instance, consider the process of impeachment, a tool that Congress can use to remove a president, vice president, or other federal officials from office. The House of Representatives holds the power to impeach or formally accuse an official of wrongdoing, but the Senate is responsible for conducting the trial and deciding whether to convict and remove the official from office. This process ensures that no single branch can unilaterally remove a member of another branch, preserving the balance of power. Checks and balances also extend to how the federal government interacts with state governments. The U.S. operates under a system of federalism, where power is shared between the national government and the states. The Constitution outlines specific powers granted to the federal government, with all remaining powers reserved for the states. This division creates another layer of checks and balances, as states have the authority to govern within their own borders, provided they do not conflict with federal law. The tension between state and federal authority has been a recurring theme in American history, from debates over states' rights in the Civil War era to modern disputes over issues like healthcare and immigration. While the system of checks and balances is designed to prevent any one branch from becoming too powerful, it also introduces the potential for gridlock, where the branches are unable to agree and government action is stalled. This has been a common criticism, particularly in periods of divided government when different parties control the presidency and Congress. However, proponents of the system argue that this gridlock is a feature, not a bug, of American democracy. By making it difficult for any one branch to unilaterally impose its will, the system encourages compromise and deliberation, ideally leading to more balanced and thoughtful governance. Throughout American history, the system of checks and balances has been tested, sometimes severely. During the Watergate scandal of the 1970s, for example, the legislative and judicial branches played crucial roles in investigating and ultimately holding President Richard Nixon accountable for abuses of power. Similarly, the Supreme Court's decisions during the Civil Rights era, particularly in cases like Brown versus Board of Education, demonstrated the judiciary's power to challenge and overturn entrenched social injustices, even in the face of resistance from the other branches. More recently, debates over executive orders, congressional investigations, and judicial appointments have highlighted the ongoing relevance and importance of checks and balances. These debates remind us that the system is not static. It is constantly evolving in response to new challenges and circumstances. The balance of power between the branches can shift depending on political, social, and legal developments, but the underlying principles of checks and balances remain a cornerstone of American governance. In essence, the system of checks and balances is a safeguard against the concentration of power, ensuring that the federal government remains accountable to the people. By distributing authority across three branches and encouraging each to monitor and limit the others, the Constitution creates a dynamic interplay that fosters stability, protects individual rights, and promotes the rule of law. While the system is not without its flaws and challenges, it has endured for more than 2 centuries as a testament to the wisdom of the Founding Fathers and the resilience of American democracy. Understanding how this system works is crucial for any citizen, as it underscores the importance of active engagement, informed debate, and vigilance in preserving the freedoms and principles upon which the United States was founded.